On tonight, on Tuesday night, CBS News will host the vice presidential debate between Senator J.D. Vance, Republican from Ohio, and Governor Tim Walz, Republican governor, I mean Democrat governor from Minnesota. 5 weeks before the election, about 25 days, about 35 days out. There have been plenty of chatter about whether Vice President Kamala Harris regrets not picking Josh Shapiro, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, instead, especially with how close Pennsylvania looks to be in the election. Sure enough, Walz may not be feeling too ready. Heading into the presidential debate, Tim Walz's fighting nerves read a CNN headline this past weekend. The idea of a nervous Walz came up during a panel on the network. In addition to emphasizing how, quote, nervous Walz has reportedly told multiple people he's feeling, this piece also began by mentioning the high stakes involved. It reads like this: Tim Walz is telling people that he's nervous about facing J.D. Vance as he was on Sunday afternoon in August when he warned Kamala Harris in his running mate interview that he was a bad debater. Maybe more nervous, according to the multiple people who have spoken to him. And the pressure is even higher when, for the first time in modern campaign history, the vice presidential debate is likely to be the last marquee event before Election Day. With many voters still saying they don't know enough about Harris. Well, you know what? This is really funny. I'll stop there. This is really funny. Joe Pags, you guys know who Joe Pags is, mentioned on Twitter, excuse me, I saw this on Instagram, on TikTok, that we know everything there is to know for the past 50 years, everything there is to know about Donald Trump. Everything there is to know about Trump, we know. J.D. Vance, well, they made a movie about his life. What is there not? I mean, what is there to know? What else is there to know? What we don't know about Kamala Harris is, well, is she black? We don't know the basic stuff. Where she? What about her? And we know even less about Tim Walz. Even less. We know that he was in the National Guard. Thank you for your service, sir. We also knew that he found out that before his unit got sent to Iraq, that he decided to say, "Nah, I'm not going. I ain't going." We also saw that he said that he carried weapons in war, and he did not. And for a lot of us, that just seems like a really small point. But to the people who actually carry weapons in war, it's a huge thing. It isn't nuance. It's not to be fooled with. And you know what? He knows that. Tim Walz knows that. He was using that phraseology to convince you that he was something he was not. Try to convince me that he was something that he was not. And he got caught. And he wouldn't have gotten caught by me. It doesn't matter so much that I caught him, but the people who actually carried weapons in war, who risked everything, they caught him. And I was like, well, damn, that's not good, is it? So there's a lot that we don't know about Tim Walz. There's a lot that people don't know about Tim Walz. But about J.D. Vance and Trump, we know everything about them. Anyway, so a lot of voters are still saying they don't know enough about Harris. It could be up to Walz to convince them to trust the vice president. He barely knew himself before she picked him. So from there, the piece provides some interesting insight on one of the ways in which Walz has gone after Vance for going to Yale. He went after him for going to Yale. Where did Tim Walz go? He went to Minnesota State. Cool. Oh, to Florida State. Went to Minnesota State. J.D. Vance went to Yale. He bragged last month at the DNC about, as a former teacher, none of his students could even get into the Ivy League. So this dude, and you guys know that I spent years in education. This dude was bragging that his students weren't ever going to get into Yale. even with your help. So all the students that you taught, none of them were Ivy League material. None of them. Huh. So weird. So weird flex, dude. Weird flex. He feels genuine contempt and confusion over what he views as Vance's abandonment of their common roots for flipping so many of his positions to fit Trump. The digs that he takes at Vance by saying that he didn't know how many Midwesterners went to Yale are a glimpse into the anxiety of his opponent learned to be sharp, who learned to be a sharp debater there, according to the people who know Walz. So what he's afraid of is that J.D. Vance is going to, I mean, that hillbilly who went the Hillbilly Chronicles, who ended up going to Yale, learned how to debate there, and is probably going to chop Walz into small, bite-sized pieces from a debate standpoint, and Walz knows it. So when it comes to debate strategy, viewers may want to prepare for an even angrier Walz than we've seen before. And what Walz and his team fear is he's not successful on Tuesday night. We've seen the pictures, and if I can find it, I'll put it in the video right at the end of him getting booed at the Michigan game, and how he responded. Y'all saw that, right? You're gonna see it again. Anyway, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.